All right, hello and welcome to the Devstream 114 breakdown. So today we got information on Melee 3.0. We did not get a whole lot of information, and a lot of the more specific information that I wanted has not been finalized, so that information doesn't exist yet, really, so we don't have it. I'm eagerly awaiting the dev workshop that they said they're going to be doing with this stuff, so that I can go over that in another video. But we're going to go over everything that they showed us today. So first and foremost, they showed the Jupiter tileset remaster. For those that are not familiar, it is the Gas City tileset. And basically they're making it more of the Gas City with huge tile sets and like a bunch of open air and just all kinds of things like that, as opposed to a regular Corpus tile set that has some gas outside where you never interact with or really go outside and do any of the actual cool things you'd expect from a Gas City. So that remaster is probably going to be really neat. From what they showed on stream, it was really cool. Moving on, though, they talked a lot about Melee 3.0, and before I start talking about this, I actually got a really awesome clip from the dev stream that's only like a minute long that I want to show here, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what they're going for. So I'm going to show that.
So with Tempo Royale, I'm using a controller, so if I'm just swinging with Melee on the spot, you can just do some simple combos with your Tempo Royale. That's no movement input. The second you start adding movement, you get different things happening. You're moving forward, you're swinging quicker. And then if you start from a block, there's a gap closing that happens. So that's just there, and then you can chain that into the other combos. So that's just the base Melee with this particular stance, with this particular heavy blade. Yep. So you got.
So you're not doing any crazy controller gymnastics, or button gymnastics on keyboard to do this.
It's literally, am I moving forward, yes or no? And then when I stop, I switch into the other combo system, and then if I add a block in there, I can go forward with that.
Oh, cool.
So they're all interruptible, and
it feels good.
It's unified across all stances now.
Yes.
So you're not getting a new stance, going into the menu, going, oh, what is the controller gymnastics to do this one? Oh, those are too hard. I don't like the stance, but I like it visually. So these all have the same kind of memory button feel.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So now that you've seen that, that is kind of the basics, kind of the main goals of what they're going for. They want to make Melee easier and unified and not have these like confusing hold combos and pauses and all that bullshit that we have right now. And I know, obviously, some people like that specific brand of bullshit, but as long as the whole of Melee is kind of intact and still does a lot of damage, I think we'll all be pretty happy with it, with a more fluid Melee system. That being said, let's go over some things that are not shown in that clip, which is, one, heavy slams are directional. This means regular slams are not. So the regular slams we have right now where you just aim down and then you hit the regular Melee button and you slam into the ground, that's staying. And if you do a heavy slam, it will be paused and you can aim it like around the map in a radius. That's really good that we have both, because it means we still get a very fast slam if we want to use that. Having both, there's pure advantage to having both of these things. I think the directional slams are actually going to be really, really powerful, and may make some older mods that people have probably forgotten about a lot more relevant. With that, there's also going to be sustained air combos. So right now you can do like one air slash and then you drop like a rock. This is going to be where you can just do combo in the air for as long as you can aim glide for. That's going to be really useful if you're a player that wants to do Melee only. It's going to make it a lot easier to deal with Osprey and other flying enemies. And it'll also make bosses that fly a lot more viable with Melee, because you're not just going to have to hope to God your one swing goes in. You can actually kind of stick to your target a bit. So that looks cool. I think that's really neat. I actually really wasn't expecting to get the sustained air combo stuff. And then we have one thing here that is kind of a downside, I think, and that is tighter rolling when blocking. So this has a probably unintended consequence depending on how they do it. So if it's only tighter rolling when blocking on the ground, that's great. Fantastic. Outstanding. I have no issues with that whatsoever. However, if this also extends to what blocking is in the air, which is aim gliding, then that is an actual parkour speed nerf, and it's pretty significant. So what we use right now is we use the roll in air while holding block in order to extend our parkour jumps and build up a lot of speed. I'm sure DE is very much aware of that. And if the aim gliding is affected by the tighter rolling, it would not give you like any speed really, as opposed to a lot that it does right now. So hopefully DE recognizes that consequence, and then just separates it into, oh, aim glides don't have reduced rolling because there's no reason for that, and only on the ground blocking would have the tighter rolling that they want because it's for ground combat anyway. Barring that, I think that's just a thing that could be an oversight that they would receive feedback on and then change it after the update would launch if they don't recognize that that's a thing beforehand. But then they very briefly talked about a thing that I'm very excited for because it has so much potential, and that is adding a devil trigger system to replace channeling. So this would not cost energy, and basically, it's, for those of you that have played Devil May Cry, it's devil trigger. That's what it is. It's an enhanced state. It's going into, for those of you that played Vindictus, it's like Black Knight mode. There's a bunch of games that do this where you get a super powered mode. Like you get it, like all character action games, there's usually this. It's just like a burst, like a transformation sometimes, that puts you into a really powered up state. Adding that to Melee, I think would be really awesome. It has a lot of potential just to look really fucking cool. There's a lot of things that they could do with like this explosion animation that you're seeing here. They could just make it so that whenever you go into this, it explodes with your primary element and procs that on all the enemies around you. That would be really useful. And then you get like really enhanced range and damage for the duration of it. They could have a build system, like they could put mods in the game to facilitate a system where you're just like constantly like wrapping yourself back around into like this devil trigger mode. That would be really cool. There's all kinds of potential for this exact thing, and I think it will look fucking awesome if they nail it. And I think it'll make Melee a lot more fun. The big thing, though, of course, even though the visuals look great, and I think the idea behind it is awesome, and they said that there are going to be range increases on all weapons, because that is obviously like a lot of what makes weapons good in Warframe in terms of Melee, is that they have to be able to hit a lot of enemies, because we fight a lot of enemies. The big thing that is with this that I'm worried about is that the numbers won't be right, because if the numbers aren't right for, say, a top-end melee weapon very easily going through like Sanctuary Onslaught, Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, then I'll be disappointed. Like, I want the weapons to perform very well, obviously. I don't want to enter back into the dark age of pre-Melee 2.0, which is that Melee was just worthless outside of like one or two things. I don't think we're going to go back to that, but I'm still worried about it because I have to be. Besides that, we got a visual for the deployable visual update, which is this. So basically, all the deployables are no longer going to look exactly the same. They're going to have unique looks per, so you can tell what they are. So that's nice. I just wanted to show it because it's going to be a nice thing when they add it. So that's cool. And then besides that, we got some talk about changes to Warframes. First is the one that doesn't really matter at all, which is Titania is no longer going to have collision damage. So you can't kill yourself now as Titania. So I guess that's fine. Sure, why not? And then the much more important thing, which is Nyx. So Nyx has vague plans for change, which is that her current 2 would be removed because it's dog shit. I don't think there is a single person that would say that Nyx's 2 isn't dog shit because it's just objectively a horrible ability that sucks. I don't think there's actually ever been a period of Warframe where it was good. I'm pretty sure that's accurate, that her 2 has actually never been good since its inception. So remove that garbage, and then move her 3 down from her 3 to her 2, and give her a new 3. That could fix Nyx as long as her 1 becomes more relevant, like making it so that she can control a whole bunch of different enemies. That would maybe be okay. And then making it so that they do like 1,000% damage base because enemies are terrible at killing other enemies. Something like that, I think, could do wonders for making Nyx more viable because, as I have said a whole lot recently, she is aging like milk. Anyway, that is going to kind of do it for Devstream 14. And I'm looking forward to the Melee 3.0 dev workshop that they talked about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am going to be streaming tonight if you stayed to the end of the video. So come hang out, and I hope to see you there. Later, everyone.